What if I told you the Nigerian government just made a move that could change the future of the entire nation? Just days after burying the most controversial president in modern history. The case against Nnamdi Kanu is officially closed, and now the clock is ticking toward a date that could set him free or shatter the hopes of millions. But here's where it gets chilling. This legal twist comes right after the burial of Muhammadu Buhari, a man many Nigerians never believed was truly alive. Rumors say he died in 2017 and was replaced by a foreign body double. At his burial, people weren't crying. They were dancing, mocking, and calling for justice. Victims of his regime say he left the country broken, from police killings to collapsed hospitals to economic ruin. And now, with Biafran leaders sending cryptic messages like, "Be happy," the air is thick with whispers of a major shift. Is Nigeria finally about to face the truth? Or are we watching a cover-up disguised as closure? This isn't just a news report. It's the unraveling of a nation's secrets. Stay with us. What's about to unfold could rewrite everything you thought you knew about power, justice, and betrayal in Nigeria. The federal government of Nigeria closed its case against Nnamdi Kanu. His defense has 14 days to file a no-case submission. The case is adjourned to July 18, 2025, a date which aligns with two past key court appearances for Nnamdi Kanu, sparking hope of a favorable ruling. The Nigerian federal government decided to close their case against Nnamdi Kanu after the successful burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, many Nigerians reacted with curses and anger upon the news of Muhammadu Buhari's death, citing years of perceived oppression, corruption, and poor governance during his presidency. Allegations resurfaced that the real Buhari died in 2017 and was buried in Saudi Arabia, while a body double named Jubril from Sudan allegedly ruled in his place until 2023. Aisha Buhari, Nigeria's former First Lady and widow-wife of deceased Buhari, allegedly said her husband asked her to help him apologize to Nigerians for his failures before his death, raising further emotional and political drama. Many criticized the fact that Buhari died in a London hospital instead of a Nigerian one, pointing to the decay of Nigeria's healthcare system under his rule. There was visible division and tension during his burial ceremonies. Some Nigerians refused to mourn him, citing mass suffering, and others even danced in celebration of his death. Some critics recalled the killings of Shiites, Haqq and End SARS protesters, and IPOB members, labeling Buhari's regime as oppressive and his legacy as destructive. Critics argued that Buhari never offered a genuine apology or atonement for his wrongdoings, and questioned why the public should forgive him without acknowledgement of specific sins. Individuals affected personally by Buhari's government shared emotional testimonies, blaming him for family deaths, strokes, rights violations, and economic collapse. The joy at Buhari's death was compared to reactions when former dictator Sani Abacha died. Allegations also arose that Buhari's death was being covered up or manipulated politically, similar to the Yaradua situation. Some critics also emphasized how Nigerian leaders, like Buhari, failed to fix the country's infrastructure, but used national wealth to seek treatment abroad, leaving the masses with poor hospitals, corruption scandals, and economic hardship. However, Nigerian politicians, including Reno Omokri, slammed Peter Obi for not attending Buhari's funeral, claiming he should be punished in 2027 elections. Some critics dismissed this as unfair, noting Peter Obi is a private citizen and not compelled to attend Buhari's burial. The Deputy Prime Minister of the United State of Biafra, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, posted a vague but hopeful message online which reads, "Be happy," and tagged an older video celebrating a future where Biafra is restored. This fuels speculation about Simon Ekpa's and Nnamdi Kanu's possible release, or a big development coming up soon. The heart of this story lies in a deeply complex problem that has haunted Nigeria for years. It is a problem of broken trust, government failure, unresolved national trauma, and a people's persistent quest for justice. The situation surrounding the official closure of the federal government of Nigeria's case against Nnamdi Kanu did not happen in isolation. It unfolded against a backdrop of national emotional upheaval, driven largely by the recent burial of former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and the controversial legacy he left behind. To fully understand what happened, how the problem began, and why Nigerians are responding the way they are, we need to journey through a series of painful events, historical betrayals, legal battles, and political consequences. At the center of this saga is Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, popularly known as IPOB. He has long been at odds with the Nigerian government over his push for the secession and independence of the southeastern region of Nigeria, which he and his followers call Biafra. This movement stems from decades of marginalization, economic injustice, and political alienation suffered by the Igbo people and other ethnic groups in the region. Nnamdi Kanu has become the voice of this struggle, but his activism has earned him imprisonment, court trials, and accusations of treason and terrorism. The legal battle between Nnamdi Kanu and the Nigerian government has dragged on for years. The case has been fraught with controversies, from accusations of extraordinary rendition when Nnamdi Kanu was abducted in Kenya and returned to Nigeria in 2021, to delays in court proceedings and violations of human rights. The federal government of Nigeria has presented several charges against Nnamdi Kanu, accusing him of inciting violence, promoting secessionist ideology, and running an illegal movement. But after years of public trials, heavy security operations, and global attention, the Nigerian government has now officially closed its case. This development came just after the nation concluded the burial of Muhammadu Buhari, the former military general turned civilian president. This timing was no coincidence, and it stirred even more controversy. Many Nigerians viewed Buhari's passing and burial not with mourning, but with mixed emotions: bitterness, joy, pain, and even celebration. During Buhari's presidency, critics said he symbolized the very thing Nigerians had fought against since the country's independence: dictatorship, injustice, and unaccountable leadership. The announcement that the federal government had officially closed its case against Nnamdi Kanu gave the impression that something deeper was at play. Legally, it means that the Nigerian government has presented all its evidence and testimonies and has nothing more to add. This allows Nnamdi Kanu's defense team to file what is known as a no-case submission. This submission argues that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case and that there is no evidence warranting a trial. The court then has to decide whether to dismiss the case or move forward. The date set for the next hearing is July 18, 2025, a significant date in the history of Nnamdi Kanu's legal struggles, as two key court appearances in the past occurred on this same day. That coincidence has given his supporters renewed hope that this time justice may finally favor him. But what really drew attention beyond the legal proceedings was the burial of Muhammadu Buhari. His death alone provoked strong reactions across the country. Nigerians did not respond with silence or gentle eulogies. Instead, They took to social media, the streets and television to express what they had been holding inside for so long. Many citizens unleashed their anger. Some people said they would never forgive Muhammadu Buhari for what he did while he was in power. They said he left the country worse than he met it. For several years, a strange and wild rumor had been circulating that Muhammadu Buhari actually died in 2017 during a prolonged medical trip abroad, and that a Sudanese body, double-named Jubril, replaced him. This rumor had no concrete evidence, but it was so widely believed that it fueled years of mistrust in the government. For critics, the lack of transparency surrounding Buhari's health and public absences only added fuel to the fire. When the news of his death finally came out, it revived this old theory and reopened many wounds. At the burial ceremony of Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria's former First Lady Aisha Buhari reportedly claimed that her husband had expressed regret before his death. She said he wanted to apologize to Nigerians. This statement was meant to show remorse, but instead it caused even more uproar. People asked, why did he not apologize publicly while he was alive? Why wait until after death to express remorse? For many, the damage was already done, and such a deathbed apology was too little, too late. Some Nigerians could not hide their joy at the news of Buhari's death. They danced in the streets, played music, and posted celebratory videos online. Others simply remained silent, refusing to mourn. For them, the burial was not a moment of national loss, but a time of reflection on all the pain they endured under his rule. There were stories shared by individuals who blamed Buhari's administration for their personal tragedies. Some said their loved ones died because they could not afford health care. Others spoke about how they were victims of police brutality during the #EndSARS protests. Families of slain Shiite protesters and members of the indigenous people of Biafra remembered how their relatives were killed or jailed without justice. Muhammadu Buhari's presidency was widely criticized for its poor governance, widespread corruption, and disregard for human rights. The healthcare system decayed to such a point that when Buhari fell ill, he had to be flown to London for treatment. This act itself was seen as a betrayal of the Nigerian people. Why should a leader who failed to fix his country's hospitals go abroad to receive the best care, while his citizens died in poorly equipped facilities? This hypocrisy cut deep. The division at his burial ceremony was also telling. Some leaders showed up out of duty, while others, like Peter Gregory Obi, a popular opposition figure and presidential candidate, did not attend. This drew criticism from government loyalists like Reno Omokri, who accused Peter Obi of disrespecting national tradition. Reno Omokri even suggested that Peter Obi should be punished politically in the next elections in 2027. But supporters of Peter Obi argued that he had no legal obligation to attend the funeral, and that forcing people to mourn a leader they did not support was unfair and undemocratic. The emotions that erupted during this period were not limited to Nigeria. On social media, leaders from the separatist Biafran movement also chimed in. Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United States of Biafra, a self-declared government in exile, posted a cryptic message that simply said, "Be happy." Along with the message, she attached a video celebrating a hopeful future where Biafra is restored. To many followers of the Biafran movement, this was a signal that something significant might be coming. Some began speculating that perhaps Simon Ekpa, another prominent Biafran activist based in Finland, and Nnamdi Kanu might be released soon. These hints of hope come amid years of persecution faced by pro-Biafra leaders. The recent closing of the case against Nnamdi Kanu could be the first step toward a political settlement. but the road to justice is still uncertain. The Nigerian legal system is slow and sometimes unpredictable. Although the no-case submission gives the defense a strong legal tool to secure Nnamdi Kanu's freedom, the final outcome lies in the hands of the judiciary, which itself has faced criticism for being influenced by political pressure. Looking ahead, there are two possible outcomes. If the court agrees with the no-case submission, Nnamdi Kanu could be freed, and the charges would be dismissed. That would mark a turning point for the Biafran movement, as it would signal a crack in the government's tough stance. However, if the court rejects the application, the trial will continue, prolonging the legal battle and potentially deepening public anger. The question now is whether Nigeria is truly ready for national healing. The death of Muhammadu Buhari has opened old wounds, but it also provides a rare opportunity to confront the past. Political leaders can either use this moment to engage in dialogue, reform, and reconciliation, or they can allow the same cycle of bitterness and suppression to continue. As for Nnamdi Kanu, the eyes of the world are on the Nigerian judiciary. The July 18th court date will be more than just another legal session. For millions of people, especially in the southeast region, it will be a test of justice, a sign of whether the country is ready to move forward or remain stuck in old habits. The burden is now on the court to either uphold fairness or deepen the distrust that has already scarred the nation. In the meantime, the people remain watchful. Their cries for justice, truth and dignity echo louder than ever. Whether through the legacy of Nnamdi Kanu, the memory of Muhammadu Buhari, or the growing voice of Biafran leaders like Simon Ekpa and Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, the future of Nigeria's unity and peace depends on how the country handles these crucial moments. This is more than just the story of a closed legal case. It is the story of a nation at a crossroads, one that must decide whether to finally confront its truth or continue hiding from it. Nnamdi Kanu's trial did not emerge from nowhere. It is rooted in a long-standing grievance that dates back to the Biafran War of 1967 to 1970. That war, which claimed over 1 million lives, mostly from starvation, ended in defeat for Biafra, but it never truly erased the feeling of injustice and abandonment experienced by the Igbo people. While the Nigerian government declared "no victor, no vanquished" at the war's end, many from the southeastern region felt they were never truly reintegrated into the nation. Opportunities were denied, infrastructure was neglected, and the region remained politically marginalized. The spirit of Biafra, though suppressed militarily, survived in whispers, memories, and eventually in Nnamdi Kanu's voice. Nnamdi Kanu rose to prominence not just because he was bold or controversial, but because he spoke the pain of millions who felt voiceless. His broadcasts from Radio Biafra were filled with rage, emotion, and passionate calls for freedom. To his followers, he was a liberator. To the Nigerian state, he was a threat to national unity. This clash in perspective has defined the battle between Nnamdi Kanu and the Nigerian authorities. His rearrest in 2021 under mysterious circumstances in Kenya sparked global outcry. Legal experts and human rights activists accused the Nigerian government of violating international law through extraordinary rendition, a form of cross-border abduction with no legal justification. Despite multiple court orders in Nigeria and even a ruling by the United Nations Human Rights Council calling for his release, the Nigerian government kept Nnamdi Kanu behind bars. He was charged with treasonable felony and terrorism-related offences. The prosecution insisted that his speeches incited violence, but his lawyers argued that his words were political expression protected under law. The government repeatedly amended its charges, struggled to produce convincing evidence, and was accused of using delay tactics to weaken the defense. But now, after years of courtroom battles, state-led media propaganda, and international pressure, the case has reached a point of pause. Closing the prosecution side of the case means that the government has run out of arguments. The burden now shifts to the judiciary. But this move happened immediately after the emotional burial of Muhammadu Buhari, a coincidence too significant for many Nigerians to ignore. Buhari's government was the main force behind the harsh crackdown on ipob, labeling it a terrorist group in 2017 and launching military operations across southeastern Nigeria. Under his rule, there were countless cases of illegal arrests, extrajudicial killings, and suppression of peaceful protests. One of the darkest memories of Muhammadu Buhari's rule remains the 2020 @EndSARS protests. Nigerian youths took to the streets demanding an end to police brutality, particularly from the notorious Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The climax came at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, where peaceful protesters were shot by security forces on October 20, 2020. Although the Nigerian government tried to deny it, independent investigations, including by CNN and Amnesty International, confirmed that people were killed and injured. Buhari's silence and cold reaction to the tragedy sealed his image in the minds of many as a leader who did not care for his people. So when news of Muhammadu Buhari's death broke, the national mood was anything but unified. Some mourned him as a hero who fought corruption and brought stability. Others remembered him as a symbol of failed leadership, repression, and suffering. The split reaction mirrored the deep fault lines in Nigerian society. Even his burial, meant to be a solemn national event, became a source of drama. Videos emerged of people refusing to pour sand on his grave. Some people outright rejected his memory. Others mocked the ceremony. The suggestion that Buhari had wanted to apologize before dying only made things worse, as many Nigerians felt the apology was not only too late, but insincere. Beyond emotions, the burial also raised questions about how Nigerian leaders treat their own country. Buhari died in a hospital in London, surrounded by the best care British medicine could offer. But during his presidency, Nigeria's healthcare system suffered massive neglect. Doctors went on strikes repeatedly due to unpaid salaries and poor working conditions. Public hospitals lacked electricity, medications, or equipment. Pregnant women died in childbirth. Children died from treatable infections. So many people wondered, why did Buhari not fix these hospitals while he was alive? Why should leaders flee to foreign countries when they are sick, while their own citizens die at home? This question goes to the heart of Nigeria's governance problem. The same public funds that should build quality schools, roads, hospitals, and job opportunities are often misused. Politicians fly abroad for medical care, stash money in foreign banks, and hold dual citizenships. Yet they insist on ruling a nation they barely trust enough to heal them. Muhammadu Buhari's death in London was not just a personal matter. It was a political message, a reminder of how far removed Nigerian leaders are from the people they govern. In the aftermath of Buhari's burial, different political camps began spinning the story. Pro-government voices like Reno Omokri criticized opposition figures such as Peter Gregory Obi for not attending the funeral. Omokri argued that by refusing to attend, Peter Obi insulted the institution of the presidency. But supporters of Peter Obi clapped back, saying he was under no obligation to attend. They reminded the public that Peter Obi is currently a private citizen and has the right to grieve, or not grieve, in his own way. More importantly, they said that mourning should come from the heart, not political calculation. Meanwhile, the pro-Biafran camp began reading signs and symbols in the events unfolding. When Dr. Ngozi Orubueze, a key figure in the United States of Biafra's government in exile, posted the simple words, "Be happy," followers took it as a coded message. Coupled with her reposting of an older video where she spoke about Biafra being restored soon, many began speculating that a major announcement was coming. Could it be the release of Nnamdi Kanu? Was Simon Ekpa, the controversial but influential Biafran voice in Finland, about to be pardoned? Was international support for Biafra finally reaching a turning point? These questions remain unanswered, but they point to a growing sense of momentum in the Biafran movement. For years, the Nigerian government responded to Biafran agitation with brute force. But now, things are changing. The world is watching. The case against Nnamdi Kanu is collapsing. Simon Ekpa's activities have attracted international attention, especially after his arrest and court battles in Finland. The Biafran cause, once treated as a fringe movement, is slowly becoming mainstream in the minds of many Nigerians disillusioned by decades of failed governance. But even if Nnamdi Kanu is freed, the struggle is far from over. Freedom alone will not heal the wounds of decades of marginalization. It will not fix broken roads or reopen industries in Aba, Enugu, or Onitsha. This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.